welcome to a new year of the Acid Trash Jamboree and to another collection Snapshot video where I share my thoughts on a bunch of albums that I've been listening to lately that just so happen to share the same storage box. So yeah, expect folk, heavy psych, funk, and even a bit of free jazz. Something for all the family. Okay, so we start off with an example of something that every time I play it, I start off thinking, why do I keep hold of this? Then by the end, I always end up deciding it's not too bad. Yeah, the one and only album by All That the Name Implies, which was previously only released as a DJ promo LP in 1968. This CD coming along approx 40 years later, courtesy of the Fallout label. This 6-piece acoustic group featured no less than 5 different vocalists, whose blend definitely takes some getting used to, mostly owing to leader Nick Favor's husky, oftentimes strained delivery. Still, if you can get past that, they do some interesting things with both straightforward harmonising and complex polyphonic vocal arrangements, which float over a bed of strummed 12-string guitars and pulsating conga beats. The songs themselves range from upbeat, bluesy janglers like the opener Lemon Train and Mary Maybe, to mildly psychedelic efforts like So Am I and the dramatic August Pine, plus a thoroughly annoying sing-song novelty entitled Simply Implied, which is best skipped over. The centrepiece and overall highlight here is the 7-minute tribute to fellow 12-string tickler Fred Neil, which combines 3 different songs in one, including the folk standard The Water Is Wide, which Neil did the definitive reading of on his classic album Bleecker and McDougal. I'm pretty sure I first read about All That the Name Implies in a book dedicated to psychedelic folk music. And yeah, if you're coming at this expecting to hear a lost gem in that style, as I say, there are a couple of nods here and there, but there's also plenty of moves that bring to mind the altogether more square, early 60s folk scene. So yeah, basically, if you're at all new to this stuff, there are probably a good couple of 100 records that I'd recommend to check out first before you even have to bother with this one. But if you're a hopeless case like me, then it's just about worth picking up if you find it cheap. Next up, we have the 3rd album by San Francisco psych legends Blue Cheer, 1969's New Improved. Yeah, following the barbarian rock bludgeon of their debut Vincibus Eruptum, and the more nuanced and colourful Outside Inside, the band parted ways with original guitarist Lee Stevens, replacing him with a chap named Randy Holden, only to find themselves in search of yet another axe slinger when Holden cleared off halfway through the recording. To reflect this, the original LP was split down the middle, much like Napalm Death would do on their debut Scum, with the A-side comprising of tunes recorded by the post-Holden quintet lineup, whilst the B-side is made up of the 3 songs cut with Holden at the helm. The quintet material, mostly penned by new recruits Bruce Stevens and the wonderfully named Ralph Burns Kellogg, bears very little resemblance to anything that Blue Cheer had done beforehand, with the heavy psych elements of their original incarnation dialed back massively in favour of soul and R&B infused good time rock and roll. Listenable enough stuff, especially the opener When It All Gets Old, but nothing we haven't heard done better elsewhere. As for the power trio stuff from the B-side, I know there are certain people who swear by the first 2 songs at least, but all in all, despite being closer in spirit to the albums they made with Lee Stevens, I've never been able to get too worked up about them. Yeah, to my ears at least, Peace of Mind comes over as a bit of a one-dimensional dirge, hinging around one of those bog-standard, done-to-death, rock cliché chord sequences. The Sunshine of Your Love knockoff, Fruit and Icebergs, is a bit better. Its sinister chromatic riffage, foreshadowing the proto-metal boom of the early 70s. Then Honey Butter Lover is a brief sliver of psychedelic folk pleasantry. This CD reissue is rounded off by 2 non-LP 7-inch tracks, another feel-good Kellogg rocker, All Night Long, and its perkily psychedelic flip side, Fortunes, which was penned by leader Dickie Peterson, and is just about my favourite thing on here. Next, I'll say a few words about The Payback by James Brown, a certified funk masterpiece from 1974, and astonishingly, at that point, Brown's 37th studio album since his debut in 1958. As is widely known, this was originally submitted as a potential soundtrack to the blaxploitation movie Hell Up in Harlem, though unfortunately, due to interference from the film's producers, it ended up not getting used, a decision that troubled director Larry Cohen for many years after. Thankfully, this rejection didn't hold up the release of the actual music. And yeah, basically, what we have here is funk's answer to massive, sprawling double LP monsters from the worlds of rock and jazz, like Can's Targo Margo or Miles Davis's Bitches Brew. Yeah, kicking off with the grimy, streetwise strut of the title song, this is one of those records that, if you allow it, can pretty much bend the fabric of time. The grooves getting longer and more intoxicating the deeper in you get, climaxing with the astonishing trio of Time Is Running Out Fast, Stone to the Bone, and Mind Power, which between them make up over half an hour of mind-melting, minimalistic jamming. And yeah, if you have the CD version like me, then not only do you not have to keep getting up off the floor to change sides, but you get a full extra 90 seconds added to Mind Power. Bonus. In between all this cosmic funkery, Brown does toss in a couple of ballad-type numbers, the orchestrated waltz, Doing the Best I Can, and the sultry blues of Forever Suffering, which are generally regarded as the weak links here. Whilst they have their moments, if you're not in the mood, they do break the LP's spell a bit, particularly the overly repetitious chanting from the backing vocalists. Anyway, so much has been said about this record already that it'd be pretty futile for me to attempt to say anything original or profound. Yeah, if you want to read the definitive summation of what makes The Payback so great, then look no further than Julian Cope's amazing review on his Head Heritage website. Cope himself has, of course, attempted to channel the spirit of Brown with mixed results through the long-form wig-outs of the Right series and his band Dope, who I made a video about a couple of years ago. As I say though, if you want the genuine article, a heady 1970s double album to lose yourself in, then look no further than this classic. We round out this video with a couple of albums by one-time Cream frontman Jack Bruce, starting with Things We Like, cut in 1968 during the tail end of his days with the band, but not released until a couple of years later. And yeah, this is a curiosity to say the least. A purely instrumental and heavily acoustic-leaning jazz LP, recorded with serial band joiners Dick Heckstall-Smith and John Hiseman on sax and drums respectively, and given some welcome jolts of electricity from guitar god John McLaughlin. Yeah, apparently it was only through a chance meeting that McLaughlin ended up playing on this, as Bruce originally just planned the tunes to be recorded by a bass, sax and drums lineup. Weirdly enough, Bruce claimed he penned the original pieces here when he was very young indeed, back in the mid-50s, though unless he was one of the unheralded inventors of avant-garde jazz, aged 11, come the recording, it's pretty obvious that they ended up being modified considerably to fit with the freeform, experimental sound of the times, albeit still with a big streak of old-school swing and bebop in the mix. After a rollicking start with the brief, pacey Over the Cliff, the main meat of the album is made up of extended cuts of a more dynamic nature, with things like Statues and Ballad for Arthur frequently dropping down to very low volume levels. Yeah, this is by no means an attention-grabbing, wall-to-wall skronkathon. So for me anyways, this is one of those albums that needs my undivided attention. Otherwise, it just sounds frustratingly disjointed and aimless. Unsurprisingly then, my favourite moments here are when the full quartet pile in and take flight for minutes on end, as on the epic HCKHH Blues, and the bonus freakout, Aging Jack Bruce, 3 from Scotland, England. Though I like their ultra-chilled version of the standard Born to be Blue as well. Suffice to say, but if you come to this expecting it to sound at all like Cream, then you're going to be disappointed. Yeah, I first read about Things We Like as a teenager, not long after getting into the band, and whilst I was mildly intrigued by the idea of it, I swerved buying it for a number of years, and truth be told, it's only really started to come into focus whilst doing this review. I don't suppose this is many people's favourite ever jazz album, and I certainly wouldn't recommend it as an entry point into the genre, though like I said, give it time and you might get something out of it. We finish with Harmony Row, released just after Things We Like in 1971. But as far as its content goes, this is the logical follow-up to his classic solo debut, Songs for a Tailor. So yeah, like that album, this is another high-quality affair, with Bruce's diverse and colourful sonics once again bringing to life the surrealistic poetry of regular collaborator Pete Brown. Bruce certainly had a beautiful and unique way with a tune, mixing up myriad styles into satisfyingly compact and aesthetically pleasing audio movies, with the slippery psychedelia of Morning Story and Escape to the Royal Wood on Ice, rubbing shoulders with the sizzling jazz rock of You Burned the Tables on Me and the superb Smiles and Grins. Again, don't expect many, if any, parallels with Cream here. To my ears at least, this stuff is altogether more flowing and mellifluous. Elsewhere, piano-based compositions like Opener, Can You Follow, and the glowing folk song are distinctly emotive and poignant, whilst the weird dissonance of There's a Forest and the intro section to Victoria Sage bring to mind Carla Bley and Paul Haynes' bizarre and baffling triple LP oddity, Escalator Over the Hill, to which Bruce was a prominent contributor. The Consul at Sunset then wraps the main album up on a kitschy, Latin-styled note, after which we get a bunch of bonus studio outtakes. Whilst Harmony Row is nowhere near as hard work as Things We Like, again, it took a little while to fully get into, the tunes revealing themselves over the course of several spins. If you're looking for a good intro to Bruce's solo work, then I'd recommend the aforementioned Songs for a Tailor, which is a touch more memorable, though as I said, this is still excellent and makes a great companion piece to that one. Okay, so that's it for today. Hopefully there's something in there for you to check out or revisit. I'll be back with another video about weird and wonderful music or movies in the not too distant future, I hope. In the meanwhile, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again soon on the Acid Trash Jamboree.